The world tells you an alpha is loud, aggressive, and constantly flexing. But that's a lie. That's insecurity wearing a costume. The real power belongs to the INFJ. They don't need to shout to command a room. They don't need to brag because their results speak for themselves. You know that person who never raises their voice but somehow everyone turns to them when things get complicated? The one who doesn't flex or perform, yet naturally becomes the center of gravity in any group? That's the INFJ operating as the ultimate quiet alpha. If you're an INFJ, you're about to discover why your quiet nature isn't a weakness. It's your most potent weapon. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll see your strength in a completely different light. Let's dive in. Before we start, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our weekly deep dives into the world of personality types. And if you are looking to achieve a deeper understanding of yourself and your personality type, click the link in the comments to take our favorite free personality test. The strategic mind that sees everything. INFJs operate on a level that most people are unaware of. While everyone else is focused on what's happening right now, INFJs are already 10 steps ahead, mapping out possibilities that others can't even see yet. Their introverted intuition works like a pattern recognition system on steroids. They're constantly collecting information, connecting seemingly unrelated dots, and building an internal map of how everything fits together. It's not magic. It's just that they're processing information in ways that most brains aren't wired to handle. Think about chess masters who can see 20 moves ahead. That's how INFJs navigate life. They're not just reacting to what's in front of them. They're anticipating outcomes, predicting how people will respond, and positioning themselves accordingly. While others scramble to figure out what just happened, INFJs have already seen it coming. But here's where it gets exciting. Their emotional intelligence becomes their secret weapon. Most strategic thinkers are brilliant with systems and logic, but terrible with people. INFJs understand both. They can read the room in ways that would make a therapist jealous. They pick up on micro-expressions, tone shifts, and energy changes that everyone else completely misses. This means they understand motivations that drive people's decisions before those people even understand themselves. They see the insecurity behind the bravado, the fear behind the anger, the hurt behind the defensiveness. And they use this understanding not to manipulate, but to navigate complex situations with surgical precision. When conflict arises, others react emotionally. They get defensive, aggressive, or shut down completely. INFJs respond with calculated moves. They've already run through multiple scenarios in their heads. They know which approach will actually solve the problem versus which one will just make everyone feel better temporarily. This is why INFJs often become the unofficial advisors in their friend groups or workplaces. People instinctively know they'll get genuine insight, not just someone telling them what they want to hear. INFJs have this ability to see through surface-level drama to the real issues underneath. The beautiful thing is, they don't need to announce their intelligence or strategic thinking. They're not the ones in meetings saying, "Well, actually," every 5 minutes, or name-dropping their credentials. Their results speak louder than any self-promotion ever could. You'll notice this in how they handle challenges. Where others might panic or make impulsive decisions, INFJs take a step back. They gather information, consider multiple angles, and then act with this quiet confidence that everything's under control. Not because they're arrogant, but because they've already thought through the possibilities and have a plan. This strategic mindset also extends to their relationships. They're not just collecting friends randomly. They're building genuine connections with people who align with their values and long-term vision. They invest in relationships that matter, not ones that just provide temporary entertainment or social status. When you combine this level of strategic thinking with genuine care for others, you get something powerful. INFJs become the people others trust with their most significant decisions, their deepest fears, and their most important dreams. Not because they demand that trust, but because they've consistently proven they deserve it. Unshakable inner authority. Here's where INFJs completely demolish the traditional alpha playbook. True confidence doesn't need an audience. It doesn't require applause, validation, or even recognition. Most people are constantly seeking external confirmation that they're doing okay, that they matter, that they're worthy of respect. INFJs have already done that work internally. They've spent years in deep self-reflection, facing their shadows, understanding their motivations, and building an unshakable sense of who they are at their core. This isn't surface-level self-help stuff. This is the kind of profound self-knowledge that only comes from genuine introspection and personal growth. When you know yourself that deeply, other people's opinions no longer have the power to destabilize you. You're not constantly seeking validation because you've already validated yourself. You're not trying to prove your worth because you know your value isn't up for debate. This creates something that's almost magnetic. People are drawn to individuals who aren't needy, who aren't performing for approval, who seem genuinely comfortable in their own skin. There's a calm presence that INFJs carry that makes others feel safe. Not safe from physical harm, but safe from judgment, manipulation, or emotional chaos. Think about the people you naturally trust. They're not the ones who are constantly telling you how trustworthy they are. They're the ones who consistently show up as themselves, who don't change their personality based on who's in the room, who remain steady when everyone else is losing their minds. INFJs lead by example in the most authentic way possible. They don't give speeches about integrity while cutting corners when nobody's looking. They don't preach about kindness while treating service workers poorly. They live their values consistently, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody would know the difference. This consistency creates a ripple effect. When people are around someone who genuinely walks their talk, it inspires them to examine their own behavior, not through guilt or shame, but through inspiration. INFJs inspire others to rise to their level by being authentically themselves. Their authority isn't based on position or title. It's based on character. You can strip away someone's job, their money, their status symbols, but you can't take away who they are at their core. INFJs understand this instinctively. They've built their sense of self on things that can't be taken away. This is why their quiet authority is actually more potent than loud dominance. Dominance based on aggression or intimidation is fragile. It requires constant maintenance. You must continually prove that you're the alpha, assert your position, and fight to maintain control. It's exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. But authority based on character? That's unbreakable. You can't fake genuine self-knowledge. You can't perform authentic confidence. You can't manipulate your way into absolute respect. Either you've done the work or you haven't. And people can sense the difference even if they can't articulate it. INFJs don't need to raise their voices to be heard. When they speak, people listen because they've earned that attention through consistent authenticity. They don't need to demand respect because they've already demonstrated they deserve it through their actions. The kingmaker effect, power through influence. Here's where INFJs reveal their true power. They don't need to be the center of attention because they become something even more valuable, the unseen center of gravity that everything else orbits around. In any group or organization, there's usually someone who isn't the loudest or most visible, but somehow everyone ends up gravitating toward them. They're the ones people seek out for advice, the one who mediates conflicts, the one who somehow knows exactly what to say when things get complicated. That's usually an INFJ. They achieve this through what I call the kingmaker effect. Instead of trying to dominate others, they elevate them strategically. They see potential in people before those people see it in themselves. They offer encouragement at precisely the right moment, provide growth opportunities, and create environments where others can thrive and shine.
This approach builds something that forced dominance never can: genuine loyalty and respect. When someone has invested in your growth, believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself, and helped you become better than you thought possible, you remember that forever. You don't follow them out of fear or obligation. You follow them because you genuinely want to. INFJs are natural mentors, but not in an obvious way. They're not standing on stages giving motivational speeches. They're having quiet conversations over coffee, offering insights that shift perspectives, asking questions that help people discover their own answers. Their protective nature means they genuinely care about others' well-being and success. They're also incredibly strategic about their energy. While others get caught up in every drama and petty conflict, INFJs choose their battles wisely. They understand that not every hill is worth dying on. Not every argument needs to be won. Not every slight needs to be addressed. This selective engagement actually makes them more effective. When they do choose to get involved, people pay attention because they know it must be important. Their interventions carry weight precisely because they're rare and thoughtful. When INFJs do engage fully, their impact is transformational. They don't just solve immediate problems, they address the root causes. They don't just put band-aids on symptoms, they create lasting change. This is because they're thinking systemically, considering long-term consequences, and factoring in the human element that others often ignore. Your quiet power is precisely what this chaotic world needs right now. While everyone else is shouting to be heard, you're creating the kind of profound, meaningful influence that actually changes lives. You don't need to be louder to be stronger. You just need to trust in the unique way you move through the world. Trust me, the people who matter will recognize your strength even when you're not announcing it. Your calm presence, your strategic thinking, your ability to see potential in others. These aren't weaknesses disguised as strengths. They're superpowers that most people spend their whole lives trying to develop. Check out our other videos on INFJ psychology and subscribe for more insights into your beautifully complex mind. If you want to continue the journey to understanding yourself or an INFJ in your life, click either of the following videos, where we continue to unlock the secrets of the INFJ personality type.